Welcome back to the Leverage Advantage Show, where we show you the best ways, the most easy ways to generate a lot of money in the least amount of time. Today, we have with us Nick Sinclair, and Nick is one of the foremost experts in offshoring for accounting firms. Now, Nick has been working in the financial services industry since the year 2000 and is one of the youngest financial advisors to start providing financial advice at the tender age of 20. Now, Nick is sat on several boards and committees, and the most recent being the Entrepreneurs Organization as the Learning Director for the Asia Pacific. As the CEO of the Outsourced Accountant, Nick drives an Australian-based executive team to deliver outstanding and dedicated offshoring solutions for accounting and finance firms from the Philippines. Did I get that right, Nick?
Perfect. Thanks for having me.
Well, Nick, I think that's pretty much the intro that we've got for you. But maybe you could tell us a little bit more about your story. What are you doing now, and who do you help?
Yeah, wonderful. Thanks again for having me on the podcast. My story dates back to I was a financial planner and accountant in my 20s. At the age of 23, I set up my own financial planning and accounting firm. I was typical young person, thought I could do it better than anyone else. So I asked for partnership. They said no. So I went and set up my own business, and that grew to be a team of financial planning and accounting and mortgage broking and property buyer's agent, where we had a team of 38 staff in Australia. But from there, I then went across to, I'm part of a global organisation called Entrepreneurs Organisation, and I was actually on the Queensland or Brisbane board, and I went over across to the Philippines for a global board retreat with 1,000 other board members from around the globe, and that's where I really learnt about offshoring and what was available. One of our members, Mike O'Hagan, who owns a company called Mini Movers in Australia, a lot of people are familiar with him. He had his own back office there, and it really opened my eyes for what was possible. My accounting and financial planning firm was very administration heavy. We're running 4 administration staff to every income earner. And that was just continuing to get more compliance driven and more focused on what we had to provide from a compliance point of view in Australia. So it really opened my eyes up to what was possible, and also how can we continue to leverage and grow our business in Australia by utilising the right people at the right cost in a global environment. So set up our back office there. Towards the back end of 2013, we put on 30 staff in the Philippines over 2 months. And that was really driving my Australian-based business, where I had 38 staff in Australia, 30 in the back office. And about 3 months into that, one of my good friends, who was actually the president of the board for EO in Brisbane, Rob Nixon, who's a specialist in the accounting space. He's helped accountants for the last 20 years to grow their businesses. He asked me to come on a 13-city roadshow across Australia and New Zealand to talk about what I was doing, and more, I suppose, to the point, scare the accounting industry into the fact that change is happening. Funny enough, at the end of the first show in Newcastle in New South Wales in Australia, I had 5 accounting firms come up to me at the end of the first one saying, look, Nick, we love what you're doing over there. We don't want to replicate it. We don't want to have to go through the effort of doing that. Do you have some additional seats or space available in your office where we could come to an arrangement with you and you pay you to do it all, but we get the benefit of you already doing it? So the outsourced accountant pretty much happened overnight. So being an entrepreneur, I said straight away, yep, definitely. It's called, we can call it the outsourced accountant. By the end of the roadshow, by the end of the 3 weeks, I'd sold another 90 seats, and it became a full business. So within 9 months, suddenly the outsourced accountant was created and born, and we had 90 people working for us in that other business. Fast forward to now, we've got 675 staff. So within less than 4 years, we're almost up to 700 staff. There's 100 people in recruiting, another 30 waiting to commence. And strategically, we moved into the US and the UK this year. We'll be 5,000 people within the next 3 to 5 years. So a lot's evolved and changed. And I've completely exited my old business 18 months ago. And now completely run the outsourced accountant as the CEO. And again, my role's changing over the next 12 months as well in that capacity. So it's been an exciting journey. I've learnt a lot from running a small business of a total staff of about 68 staff, to now running a business with, close to 700 people and soon to be 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 people. I've learned a lot along that very small and quick journey. But again, it's been 13 years in the making, you could say.
Wow, that's really awesome, Nick. Like, I mean, like in our case, it's actually very similar, because what we used to do was we used to do trainings and we used to teach online marketing. And a lot of the people, or there was a segment of the people that came that didn't want to learn it to do it. They wanted to learn it just to have a conceptual understanding of what's going on. And they knew that even if they tried to learn what we did and tried to do it themselves, they wouldn't be able to do it as well as we do. So these are the same people that came to us later and said, hey, you know what, can you guys just do it for me? And I think that really resonates in the same way that we built our business. But here's what I want to ask you as well, like growing from a company with 38 people to now one with, did you say 700?
Yeah, we're 675 staff as of today, with another 130 waiting to start or in recruiting at the moment.
Wow, that's amazing. How did you go from I think the question I want to ask really is because right now we're scaling our company as well. We started with 4 people in August and now we've got 18.
That's
right?
Awesome.
And
yep.
And in doing that, it's so different building a business and running a business with just 4 people or even 2 people, and then now running a business with 18 people. What were the mindset shifts that you had to go through in order to create that scale for yourself?
Yeah, look, I think the biggest mindset shift that anyone needs to make that is wanting to scale a business is that you can't be the best at everything and you can't wear all the hats. So it's really around bringing in a team that can drive the functions of your business and people that are better and smarter than you. So for us, is really around building out an executive and a leadership and a local leadership team that can drive the business and letting go. Too many SME owners that I see just won't let go. They think they're I can do it faster and I'm better than anyone else, so I'll just do it because it's quicker. But what happens when you're needing to do that and 20 different tasks on a daily basis? You just don't have enough time. So really employing the best people to drive your business for you is ultimately the advice that I can get. And the ability now with building global teams is that you can employ people at a lower cost that have got these real high expertise, but they're sitting in a global environment. That could be in the Philippines, they could be in Sri Lanka, it doesn't matter where they are. So if your company can't afford a HR director in Australia, but you need one, where could you get someone to drive that? And at the end of the day, the larger the business gets, the more you actually realize that your business is all about people. My business is people. The more that I can drive and impart and empower my staff, the bigger the business is going to grow. So not only recruiting the best talent, but then how do you impart all of your skill and all of your focus to be on growing them? Because the more you grow them, the more they're going to grow and look after your business.
Awesome. Thanks, man. And tell me, what was that turning point when you decided that you wanted to provide these services for the people, say, in Australia? Like, what was that epiphany for you?
Yeah, look, the epiphany for me was, I suppose, at that event where people just came up to me and said, look, we want to put people in with you. Is it something that you would do? I'd never done a business plan. I'd never mapped it out. I've never thought about it. I'm very, very entrepreneurial is not the word. I just said yes because I saw it as an opportunity. And I saw it as an opportunity to cover some of the costs for my own team that are there. And then it grew into a full business. So the mindset I was in then versus now is completely different. But just doing it, opportunities come to you. Businesses that you don't even consider businesses can turn into one, not even when you're looking. So I think too many people try to, I see this with a lot of startups. They create this product and they forget the one thing. You actually need a customer. So if you've got customers coming to you, build a product around that. Too many startups these days are trying to think of some idea that because they're very good at building technology, or what about if I built this, and they raise capital, but it means nothing because no one wants to buy it. I started in reverse. I had customers and I had no offering, and I created an offering that suited them and was based on what they wanted after I already had 5 customers.
Yeah, you know what? That's exactly what I've been saying to a lot of people. Like, I think right now a lot of people have it backwards. They have, I've got a business idea, then I got to write a business plan, and then I got to go find investors before I even have a product and before I even have a customer. Now, I mean, for some people that might work, but I think they're putting themselves in a very weak position. But what people like yourself and myself do, the first thing we do is we get a customer. We identify a market need, we get a customer, and then we scale the business. And I think that the cheapest form of funding for your company for growth is revenue. And I really respect what you've done with your company to that end. Do you have any big tips or advice for listeners when it comes to creating leverage in their business?
Yeah, look, the biggest thing that I can say about, and I mean, it's my business. We're about providing global staff to businesses. So the biggest tip that I can get to people is make sure that you're only doing the 3 critical things that you're the best at doing, and making sure that you're only focusing on the 3 key areas that you should be focusing on. And I'll give you an example. My focus as the CEO of the business is strategy. It's around business growth initiatives, and it's around mentoring and our people. So within those 3 areas, I have 5 key functions under each of those. So I have 15 tasks that you could say that I need to perform in my job. When I'm managing my diary, nothing goes in there outside of those 15 things, and those 5 key things for each of those 3 areas. Everything else I employ people to do, because what people do is, and this is one of the things with my role evolving, over the next 12 months, there's a very, very good chance that I won't be the CEO of this business anymore. Because my main skill set is promoting the business. It's out there talking to clients. It's driving strategies with our clients. It's doing things like podcasts. I speak a lot at events. That's really where I add value. But at the moment, I'm getting pulled into a lot of my time is managing the executive output. So working with the executive team, setting up the meeting rhythms and all the things operationally that I'm not strong at. So the biggest thing that you can do is actually identify what are you good at and what are you not good at. And what you're not good at is create roles and build roles for those things. Because if you're only focusing on the things that you're really, really good at and you're only executing those, your business is going to grow 100% quicker than if you're trying to do things that take you twice as long and you're not good at doing, and you're not going to be able to do it. So the biggest thing I can give any advice to anyone is, if you want to leverage, is build a global team. There is the best talent around the globe. Doesn't matter what country it's in. Find the best talent for the things that you're not good at doing, and focus on what you're good at doing, and everything else will follow and grow.
That's awesome, man. That's something that we're realizing as well. There's something that you said that I think was really important that a lot of people don't get, is that you focus on the 3 biggest things, the 3 biggest strengths that you have, and then each of these strengths have 5 very specific tasks, and making sure that only those tasks get into your calendar. I think for a lot of people, they're unable to make that bridge between vision, between concept, vision, and strategy, and what they have to do every day. And what you mentioned is really, really important for them. And the other thing that you mentioned, I think, which is really important for our listeners, is that we live in a global environment today. And I think we need to break out of this traditional mindset where when we have employees, they have to be in front of us working. We employ, my team is completely remote. So the only people that work in the office are the 4 partners. Everybody else work from home. So, and that includes my project managers who are based in Australia, who are based in the Philippines and Indonesia. It includes my graphic designer that's based in Serbia, and even my video editor that's based in the Palestine, right? So I'm on board 100%. I think a lot more companies need to understand that talent can reside anywhere. And oftentimes, like Singapore is one of the most expensive places in the world to live, right? And most of the time you can get better talent at better value than in Singapore. So that's what we've gone and done. Now, if you could travel back in time 10 years and tell your old self one thing, what would that be?
Slow down. And the reason why I say slow down is that I was young, I was naive, I went into business, I had no money behind me, I tried to grow too fast. you know, I learned a lot of lessons which have helped me to grow the business to where it is today. But patience is something that I don't have a lot of, and I've learned as I've got older and as the business has become more of a corporatized business, is that patience is needed in a strategic way at times, and every opportunity is not a good opportunity. You know, back when I first started out in business, I'd take anything and everything, and I was very much, you know, wasn't niche focused. I wasn't patient. I wanted everything straight away and just wanted to run as fast as I could. And having that life balance was probably one of the biggest things that I learned over time, is that you can have a work-life balance. You can work your guts out and you can grow a business really fast, but you can also live and enjoy the moment as well. And having, you know, 8 to 12 weeks off, if you really structure your diary and your time effectively. So that's probably the biggest lessons that I learned is, you know, patience, structuring your life, because life will happen regardless of whether you work 80 hours a week or 20 hours a week. As long as you're focused on the right activities, you'll get there.
Awesome. Thanks, man. And what does ultimate leverage look like to you? You know, I know it's different for everybody. What does it mean to you, and why is it important?
Yeah, look, ultimate leverage for me is balancing life between work and life between family and personal. So, I mean, a big part of EO is you focus on 3 areas. You focus on your family, you focus on your personal life, and you focus on business. So for me, ultimate life is having a balance between all 3. Can be really challenging at times, but that is, for me, ultimate leverage is the ability to be able to have all 3 areas of my life, you know, under control and living life in all 3 areas, not just in 1 or 2.
Awesome. All right. So here's the part of the show where we ask you 3 questions real quick. What's the best advice you've ever received?
Look, the best advice I probably ever received was a guy from Rob Nixon from Panalytics, who was the president of the EO board in Brisbane. Best advice was, Nick, sell something before you've built the product. So sell it once people want it,
And then you
build it fast. But then this is his other thing, is build the plane while you're flying it. So don't actually make it perfect and then take it to market, sell it, and then build it as you're flying it. And for me, you know, 80% is better than 100%, because 80% means it's up and running and you're making money off it. 100% is it never goes to market.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I mean, that's something that we do as well. Now, can you share one of your personal habits that you strongly believe contributes to your success?
Diary management. My diary is already mapped out until the end of 2018. First thing that goes in there is holidays and for family, with my time with my kids. Then I go back into all of the other critical factors, which are the 3 things in my outcome profile, those 3 key areas, and 5 tasks. So the thing that makes me work is my structured diary. It's 12 to 18 months in advance at all times.
And what book would you recommend as a must read for our audience?
The one book, Scaling Up, from Vern Harnish.
Awesome. Thanks. Finally, actually, this is the last question that we will have to ask you. And if you had 30 seconds left to live, what piece of advice would you give?
Focus on family and imparting as much knowledge as you can to your kids.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Nick. Today, we're really honored and we're humbled to have Nick Sinclair with us, the CEO of The Outsourced Accountant. Thank you so much, Nick. If people want to find out more about you, where can you be reached? Where should they go?
Best place is our website, www.theoutsourcedaccountant.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Nick. Thanks for being on the show with us.
Thanks for having me today.
Hey there, thanks so much for checking out this video. If you enjoyed it, check out the relevant video here, and don't forget to subscribe to us for more marketing tips, techniques, strategies that are working for us, or just more behind the scenes fun. See ya.